Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're going to give it a minute or two so that folks can join us into the session. I hope everyone is having a lovely summer. I hope everyone's excited for the school year to begin. It's right around the corner for all of you, including myself, too, for our students to be back on campus. All right. We have a good number of folks that have already joined us, and I will go ahead and get started. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Syracuse University. You are officially orange for sure. We're really excited that you are here with us. We are hopeful that you are having a great summer, that you've had a great summer, great end to your senior year of high school. And now you're preparing for the new semester to begin. I am really excited to be with you tonight. We're excited to share a little bit more about orientation programming. Just a few housekeeping things. My name is Tracy Zappola. I am a representative here at Syracuse University. Thank you for joining us for this virtual session. We're really excited to chat with you. Our goal tonight is to help you get a glimpse of some of the fun things that are ahead of you and some of the things that you can recap from missing orientation. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that throughout this evening, I'll be able to, behind the scenes, answering any questions that you might have. Feel free to use the Q&A feature in the webinar to ask any questions. And at the end of the presentation, we're actually going to leave time to answer some questions live. So feel free to add that into throughout. If you have questions, we'll mark some live, and then at the end, we'll take some live questions too. So those were just a couple things before we got started. I'm going to turn it over to my incredible colleague, Nick, who's going to take it away, and our incredible students.
Hey everybody. So I'm going to quickly put on our little presentation that we have for you all. Um, Everyone can see that, yes? Oh, wonderful. Okay. Hi, everyone. So my name is Nick Steins. I use he, him pronouns. I am the assistant director for new student orientation. So in my role, I've been at Syracuse about 4 years, a little over 4 years. And in my role, I oversee our new student orientation programming, our orientation leader team, which we have three of our previous leaders from this past summer, which they're going to introduce themselves here in a second. Um, Orientation programs, I also help with Welcome Week programming. So in our office, we do both of our summer programming and our Welcome Week programming, along with new student move-in. So our office is quite busy around this time of year, but we're super excited to see all of our new students get here in less than 3 weeks. And so that's me. I'll turn it over to Jayana.
Hey everybody, my name's Jayana Myers. I'm an incoming senior double majoring in policy studies and African American studies. And yes, I'm very excited to be here.
Leah.
Hi, I'm Leah. I use she, her pronouns. I'm majoring in computer science. I am a rising sophomore and very excited to be here.
And Isa.
Hello, everybody. I'm Isa or Isabel. I am a rising junior majoring in computer art and animation with a minor in theater. And yeah, just really excited to be here.
Wonderful. So, I have a couple of things to talk about with you all, kind of a brief overview of things, some things to touch up before you get here in August, and then I'm going to turn it over to our orientation leaders, student panelist, and then we're going to start off with a question and then turn it over to you all, and then we'll wrap up at the very end together. So I'm going to talk quickly about our office. I'm going to talk about preparing for next steps, again, our panel, and then wrap up from there. So I am one of four staff members in our office in New Student Programs, or NSP for short. So we're led by our fearless leader, Butch. If you have emailed our office, called our office, seen stuff on our programming website, came to any time of campus, he is the one that oversees all of us. And then there's also me. So again, Nick. I do new student orientation this summer, along with a variety of other things. And then we have have Olivia, who's been here a little over a year. So she oversees our Welcome Week leaders, which are essentially orientation leaders for Welcome Week. They help do larger and smaller scale programming. She also oversees all of our Welcome Week scheduling, including our signature events, which I'll touch upon in a little bit. So she oversees that. And then we have our office coordinator, Hyde. So we say we're a small but mighty team. There's a lot of stuff that we have to get done, but things that we're really excited about the work that we do. So when you're looking at our office as a whole or our department, we offer a variety of services and programs. So you're a student, or if you are a student on this call, you should have already received at least a decent amount of Becoming Orange e-newsletters. So that is our summer onboarding newsletter where, you get a lot of resources, you get a lot of things to follow, you get a lot of websites to click on, some require tasks to complete. So the Becoming Orange e-newsletters is a big part of our summer program to help you get acclimated before you arrive in August. We also do National Transfer Student Week. So this is a general higher education thing, but Syracuse University hosts it on our campus as well. It's every third full week of October. So we do some transfer student programming specifically for them. We also are one of a couple different offices that help support new student move-in. So we support by providing our Welcome Week leaders on the outside of the residence hall. And we also have Syracuse University faculty and staff volunteers that help us with that process. We just wrapped up new student orientation. So that's what Leah, Issa, and Jayana were 3 of 22 orientation leaders that helped us program in July. So we do that in the summer. And then we also have pre-welcome programs that falls under Olivia. We have a variety based on interest and things you might want to be doing and how you want to get connected on campus. So that happens before move-in. All of our transition programming happens throughout the course of the academic year. So that could be, we've had silent disco in previous years where students can have fun and get to know each other. We have had like self-care sessions with student outreach and support. So definitely look out for those in the academic year. And then, of course, the star of the show / it's coming up in the next couple of weeks is Welcome Week. So it's a lot at one time, but it's something that our whole campus puts on. Everyone, I feel, has a hand in Welcome Week and welcoming new students, families, and supporters to campus. So it takes a lot of work, but it's a really satisfying show to watch once it happens. So that's what we do both on the service and programming side. And you've kind of heard me talk about what the orientation leaders do. So we have 3 different student leadership opportunities in our office. So we first have the Goon Squad, which if you are not familiar or if you have not known anyone who has gone to Syracuse University in the last 80 years, it's a tradition on campus since 1944. So these are the returning undergraduate and graduate students who volunteer their time to come and support new student move-in by literally helping students unload from their car into their residence hall room. It's a very welcoming tradition, and a lot of our students enjoy doing it. So we have our orientation leader team, which do all of our summer programming, and then we have our Welcome Week leaders who do all of our training and programs in literally August in that week and a half time span. So that's what we do, and that's what we oversee. And so you thinking about next steps is, if I didn't attend new student orientation in July, what does that mean for me? And so one of the things that I really want to emphasize is that students who attended a new student orientation session in July, so that we had our first one was on July 6th, our last one was on July 20th, literally over the span of 2.5 weeks. They did not get any housing advantages. They did not get any academic advantages over students who did not attend an orientation session. While it was a free optional program, that does not mean that every student was able to, could come, had other plans, had to graduate late, whatever that looks like. And so it was open to all undergraduate schools and colleges. Whitman, VPA, or the College of Visual and Performing Arts, the College of Arts and Sciences, you name it, they were invited. But after we finished all of our sessions and doing some quick little assessment data, only 26.8 of our incoming first year class attended a session. So I know you might have seen it on our Instagram. You might have seen, the Syracuse University today just posted a story about orientation and what it can do for students. But understand that if you're coming here in the fall, it is more than likely that you are meeting someone who also did not come to an orientation session in the summer versus someone who might have already. And so I just wanted to get that out there. Again, it was optional, but our students who attended did have a great time. They got to experience campus. But we are excited to be able to do that for you all whenever you get here for Welcome Week in August. And so if you're trying to picture what new student orientation looked like in the summer versus what it looks like in Welcome Week, I know only a fourth of our class came in and did our orientation program in the summer, but there are still things that those students have to attend come welcoming time. And so that could include any social event, that could include an academic event, a pre-welcome program. They still have to go through these opportunities and experiences, even if they came to campus in July. And so what that means for programming wise is that there are sessions that we hosted during orientation repeatedly that are happening in August during Welcome Week, but just in a different format, or it's already being done, right? And so instead of sitting through maybe a PowerPoint presentation from one of our campus colleagues, it could be that you're doing a module as one of your required tasks, right? And so there are things that not every student got to experience, but you're still going to get to experience it during Welcome Week. And so when you're thinking through what is upcoming and you know things that you need to get done as a student, so we're kind of hitting that time where a lot of deadlines have either passed or are really coming up hot. And so the three biggest ones, because this has more of an impact on moving in and class registration things, is getting your prioritized required tasks done. And so that could mean submitting your immunization records, doing your screening questionnaire, and even your minor consent form if applicable, i.e., that just means if you are 18 by the time you arrive on campus, that does not apply to you. And so just making sure you're getting those out of the way to be able to help you, one, sign up for a move-in date and time, but also make sure that there are no issues when you arrive to campus and getting some of your academic stuff completed. But when I'm going through our required task page, which I know can also be a lot for students who are navigating their getting ready for their first semester at school and at SU, these are just a few that I know that we still have outstanding that are coming up. So that could be establishing a payment plan or paying your bill in general, getting your final transcripts finalized and sent over to SU. That also includes enrolling and or waiving your student health insurance plan. So it's one or the other. So just make sure you get that completed as well. I just talked about modules. So like I mentioned, there might have been a session during orientation where they talked about like Student Title IX, or they talked about what's it like being a first year student on campus. A lot of that's covered in some of these modules, and so just making sure you're doing those as well. And if you have any food allergies or dietary accommodations that you need, submitting that request sooner rather than later is very helpful for our campus dietitian. And so as we're getting ready for August and move in and getting ready for classes, these are some things that would be very helpful for you all to get squared away, get finalized, because I think that means you can start working on some of the more informal navigating what that looks like for the first week of class, for the first day of class. And so this is more the technical required tasks done. But now I kind of wanted to talk about how to ensure a successful start for you or for you as you get ready for classes in the fall. And so that could mean, and I cannot overstate this enough, is making sure that you're caught up on all of your Syracuse University email account. And so that could be things that we're sending to you via the Becoming Orange e-newsletter. That could be information from programs you might have signed up for, move-in date and times. I think one of the best ways to get into a routine as you're navigating college life for the first time is just making sure that you have that ready to go. You're checking it, you're responding as needed, completing things as they come in. Because I think that will just set you up for success once the first day of classes and the first week of classes rolls around. Especially as events start kicking off, welcome week is done, and you start getting into your own schedule. Also, more importantly, if you haven't signed up for a move-in date and time slot, definitely do that. We are actively getting ready for you all to come in the next 3 weeks. So we're super excited to be able to welcome you all. That includes us at New Student Programs. That includes the Welcome Week leaders. That includes the faculty and staff, residential living. We are ready for students to get here. So make sure you do that. Also important, one of the most common questions we get over the course of the summer is, how do I reach out to my academic and or career advisor? And our typical answer, which is the truthful answer, is that you should reach out to your advisor via email. And so one of the things about Syracuse University is that every school or college does their own thing, right? And so they have their own timeline processes, how they advise students, how many students they have. And so if you have any questions specifically about your course schedule or degree requirements, or thinking about changing majors, whatever that may look like, they are the best people to get in contact with, and that conversation or those conversations can start now. They're here to support you. They are here to get you ready for whenever you start classes in the fall. And so if you have any questions, concerns, anything you want to get, check, reach out to them via email and they will get back to you as soon as possible. Something else is that we know that during our orientation programming, I know our OL saw this happen from session 1 to session 2, is that everyone got their housing assignments. And so what that means for a lot of students is where am I living and also who am I living with? And so one of the best pieces of advice, and I'm sure some of our OLs might mention this later on during our panel, is being able to connect with your roommate ahead of time to not only establish a baseline of communication, that is something that not, even if you came to orientation in the summer, not every roommate pairing were able to go to the same session and or able to go in the first place. And so being able to communicate with them, who was bringing what move-in date and time slot did you sign up for? How do you want to start setting up that kind of camaraderie heading into the move-ins? That move-in day is a little less awkward, especially if you have a student, or if you are a student who has a random roommate that you've never met before. A lot of students go random, and so being able to establish that is very helpful, especially so you have more space in your residence hall room as a result of not bringing duplicate items. Um, this also kind of goes into the checking your email account, is that a lot of our orientation leaders had conversations over the summer with students about like what works best for you. How do you manage all of the portals that are on campus? How do you manage, all these things that are happening all at one time? And so luckily a lot of our students either use our Outlook feature, since we use Microsoft as our emailing system. I know a lot of our students in our office and across the university use Google Calendar. That's how they did things in high school, and they think that works really well for them. Being able to understand how do you want to structure your time, how do you put in where your classes are going to be, how do you schedule in that study time, going to events, checking out the events calendar, going to the involvement fair type stuff. And so finding a schedule platform that works best for you and kind of working it into your routine as you're navigating the first week, welcome week, 2 weeks of class, will only benefit you from here on out. And I've been out of school for a little bit, but I still feel that when we were talking about events to go to and things to advertise and opportunities to explore, Instagram was one of the ways that we did that. And I think that's still true today. I know our Instagram, where we'll post a lot of stuff that's happening with student employment, with student engagement, university union, things that you'll come to get to know over the course of your time here at Syracuse University. But that does not stop you from following them right now, right? So pro tip, if you literally go to our Instagram at Syracuse_NSP and click on our following, we follow a ton of organizations and departments on campus for you. That could be a starting point for folks who are looking for a place to get started. Again, that could include club sports, that can include specific club sports teams, that could include some specific organizations that work with us over the course of the academic year. We specifically have that Instagram account so that we're able to advertise as opportunities for new students. So just because you see all of our posts about welcome week and orientation recaps and whatever that looks like, doesn't mean that we stop posting once you get here on the first day of class, right? And so we are always reposting things. People are sending things to us and asking questions. And we're always happy to answer, redirect, send them to the correct people. But I think it's a great place for you to get started as you're acclimating to both the campus itself and also what does that social scene look like for you, along with the academic component. And so if you have Instagram, or if you're like, oh, I don't use it that often, but I just want to have this just to look out and get a feel for, that would be very helpful in my opinion. Because it's a great place to get started. Okay, cool. So I know we have already done introductions, but go ahead and get your questions ready. Well, actually, I see some things in the chat. Oh, wonderful. So we have a starting question for our panelists. They're going to raise their hands once they have a response. But whenever we get this first question, if you want to send a question, and then we're able to make sure we get that answered, that will be very helpful. But understanding that we talked about, what does it mean if you didn't come to orientation? What are some things to get ready for welcome week? That coming to college is exciting. This kind of goes into a activity that the OLs do with our students over the course of the summer. But college is also very exciting, but also very nerve-wracking, right? There's a lot of different things you have to get done, things you have to get ready for. It's a new environment, new system, new independence. And so that can come with a lot of emotions. And so to start off for our panelists, and whenever you speak for the first time, make sure you reintroduce yourself. But what emotions or thoughts were going through your head ahead of new student move-in and welcome week? Issa.
Hi, I'm Isa, rising junior. Yeah, this is like my first time being studying in the States for extended period of time. So I already knew going into it that I was worried I was gonna feel very homesick or overwhelmed pretty quickly. And it's not to say that this is not an overwhelming experience. It can be very stressful moving in, getting to meet new people, but it also was just really rewarding to see a lot of different people that I'm like not the people I'm surrounded by usually. So yeah, definitely I was really worried and excited. It was kind of a mix of I'm really nervous, I'm gonna be independent and living by myself in a strange place, like for the first time in my life, but also really excited because it's like a new chapter in my life. I was excited to be independent, as scared as I was. So just a lot of worries and excitement.
Gianna.
Hi, I'm Jayana, incoming senior majoring in policy studies and African American studies. And similar to what Issa said, I was very nervous. I'm from Stone Mountain, Georgia, so Syracuse is a long way away from home for me. And I was one of those students who never, I don't know how many students did this, but I never visited Syracuse prior to coming to school. So like when I pulled in to move in, that was the first time I'd ever seen Syracuse. I wouldn't recommend anybody to ever do that, but that's what I did. So I was very nervous about like what the school was going to look like, what the culture was like. And as someone who is very introverted, I was worried, like a lot of people are, about making friends and just finding my group and crowd. But as I got to university and as I got settled in and found my way, I made those friends, even though while still being introverted. And I found a place where I felt that I belonged. So yeah, I was definitely very worried and just it was just a completely new environment, and I was just like shell shocked a little bit, but it ended up working out.
Leah.
Hi, I'm Leah, rising sophomore. I'd say I was definitely nervous, like Issa and Jana said, like you're in a new environment, you're away from home, you're away from your friends and parents. Um, and I was also nervous about, of course, meeting people and getting into like just a completely new thing. But I was also excited to experience that independence. I am my parents' youngest child, so they're very like overbearing with me, I will say. So it was nice to kind of just like be free to just like go on a walk whenever, meet new people, and that was probably the best way to meet new people by just going to different events and like continuing the types of activities that I did in high school, but in a new way, like finding new clubs and organizations. I was really excited about that. So yeah.
Wonderful. Um, I have a question. Oh, Tracy, or maybe not.
Yes, we have a question here that somebody asked. As somebody who's coming from a far away and shipping most of their things, how do you manage that? And I would imagine a couple of you had to use that. Yes, go ahead, Lisa.
Yes, so I don't know why I said it, but I live in Puerto Rico. So there was no other option other than shipping my stuff. I would say that they definitely, new student programs, they give you information of when and where to ship your stuff, how far in advance. So definitely look into that. Um, because when I got there, my boxes were just there ready for me to pick them up. So that was great. I would say don't ship anything that you don't really like. Don't ship at something if you don't have to. What I did was like I shipped my clothes, um, like shoes, all that stuff. But then when I got here, I bought like a fan, like pillows. Just do like a Target run once you get here. I would say it would be the best part of it. And then kind of skipping forward a little bit, but look into Lazy Bones. That's what I use every time. They hold your stuff for the summer, but for a pretty good price, and they deliver it to your dorm, like up to your room. So I would definitely look into Lazy Bones as soon as you can. But yeah, definitely don't overpack. I know it's like tempting to pack everything that you own, but it's better if you buy stuff here as you need it rather than just having a lot of clutter.
Yeah, and Isa kind of mentioned this, and I know I can find a link for you, or Tracy can find a link for you on our website. But especially if you're shipping things, so obviously our facilities folks who oversee a lot of packages are understand the breadth of how many packages we expect to get from middle of August leading into the first 6 weeks of class, right? And so, but I can tell you that if you're shipping anything, the earliest you can start shipping something is August 14th. So that's that Friday. I know a lot of people are worried that they're like, well, if I move it on Monday, is it going to be there? Whenever you ship something, essentially they know where it's going. And so you can also find the address of every residence hall on campus also on one of our websites. Um, and again, I can try to get those over for you really fast. But August 14th is the first thing you start shipping stuff. It'll be directly at your residence hall. You'll get more than likely an email about how to pick it up, when it's going to be there. Anissa mentioned Lazy Bones. That's a storage unit place that will move stuff, and they work really closely with our housing, meal plan, and ID card services office, which oversees housing, meal plans, and ID card services. But they work closely with them. That's why Issa said, like, oh, it appeared in my room. It's because they work really closely in that regard. And so August 14th, ship it from there, buy what you can when you get here. Jayana?
Yeah, I don't really have much else to add from that. I decided to drive up from Georgia. It was a long drive, but I made it. But I would just recommend, like Issa said, to just buy the bigger things once you get here. There's also the option to rent a mini fridge and microwave through the university if that's something that you're interested in. If you're worried about how to store it, although we do have Lazy Bones, it can get pretty pricey to store bigger items. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, there's a lot of options for students coming from far away to get their stuff here. I would say pack lightly, although I did not. You figure out what works for you and you decide what you think is most important to bring. But I will say there is not a lot of room in those dorm rooms, so you got to learn how to maximize your space to the best of your abilities. So yeah.
We have another question about how people balance the aspects of life, right? How do you balance your classwork plus activities, especially when you're going into college and classes are so different?
Leah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I can definitely relate to this question. I say like stay as organized as possible. I personally had like two, three planners so that I could organize my assignments, my clubs, and then just general where I need to be and when. All of your professors will have a syllabus, which for most will have every single assignment or exam that you need to do throughout the semester. So I'd say first after your first week of classes or after your first day of classes even going through that and putting all those assignments, all those exams into a schedule, an assignment tracker, some place where you can see it, get notifications for it is definitely very helpful. I use apps on my phone just to like remind me where I need to be. I use Outlook calendar and to-do list. So definitely things like that. It's just planning ahead is like the biggest piece of advice I have for that.
Issa?
Yeah, I would say early on the semester, just sit down with yourself and like figure out what your priorities are. So I obviously student, but then I also work and I'm involved on campus on different organizations. So I had to early on figure out, okay, yes, I love my organizations. I love like hanging out with my community and like making time for myself, but my work and my academics are non-negotiable. So kind of figuring out what your priorities are. So let's say if you want a job on campus, but you're not that invested into it, you just want like a little bit extra money, then you can like take less hours and take more time for yourself. Just figure out your priorities, how busy you want to be. I'm like a person that really enjoys being busy all the time, but I know some people who don't want to be like that. It depends on what you need and then go from there. But be honest with yourself. I understand FOMO and you want to go to everything and do everything all at once, but you have to put yourself first, figure out what works and what you need, and then go from there.
Jayana?
Yeah, exactly what Issa said. You have to know what's your priority. My friends and I, we always just like our biggest priority was not doing schoolwork on the weekends. So we situated our schedule to make sure that we were free to do as we please, wake up when we wanted to, and just like enjoy ourselves on the weekend. And that was, the biggest thing that we cared about. I'm also a person where it's like I know a lot of people stay up very late doing things. I'm kind of a person where I like to start early so I don't have to do that, and that I'm just kind of like I try not to burn myself out or stress myself out a lot when it comes to schoolwork, especially when you're taking a lot of credits. I came in taking 18 credits, six classes. It was a lot. But I always made sure to give myself a break and to understand that the work is still going to be there when I wake up tomorrow and I can do it. But again, you kind of have to just do it early, and procrastination, it is not the time to do that, even though people are still probably going to end up procrastinating. Um, you just have to learn a balance and create that balance for yourself and make sure that you're staying organized and, like everybody else said, figuring out your priorities, literally just repeating. But that's what worked for me.
We have another question about winter. What's your absolute 100% must-have item for winter and snow?
Um, should I start? I'm from Georgia. It doesn't snow. It doesn't snow in Georgia. So I had to buy snow boots. That's a must. While the university does their best job to clear the way, like the walkways for you, it's still a lot of sleet. It can get, very mushy. Get you a good quality pair of snow boots, a good quality jacket, and something to cover your face because while the snow falling down is not bad, it's very pretty to look at. The snow blowing very viciously in your face as you're walking to class, not very fun. So I would definitely try to find a good pair of just everything, snow boots, jacket, scarf, and gloves, because you'll definitely need it. And it can make the winters much more tolerable if you have those things.
Leah?
Leah?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Jana. With snow boots are definitely a must. I'm from New York, so I'm relatively used to the snow, but I will say Syracuse is just different. Um, my biggest thing is like a scarf, like Jana said, the snow is blowing in your face. So it's kind of nice to have something to like wrap around my head and my face a bit. Um, and on top of that, gloves too. I mean, like obviously, like I kind of shove my hand into my pockets, but I know I get cold very easily, so a scarf and gloves are definitely a must.
Issa?
Yeah. Definitely everything that they said. If you're gonna invest in something, invest in like good quality snow gear in general, like a good coat. But I would say get a heated blanket if you're like suffer from the cold. Like I had never seen snow before coming to Syracuse, and then like came here and was very much like introduced to the snow. So definitely invest in a heated blanket. Mine is like my most precious thing that I have. So if you think you're gonna be very cold in the at night, get a heated blanket. It's worth it.
That's a really good tip. Oh, Jayana, you have something else.
Yes, I'm sorry. I just wanted to add, get a long coat. Do not get the ones that stop at your waist. Get you a long, fully covering coat. A puffer would be the best. Keeps you very insulated.
Layers are key for sure. And I have a long coat and a short coat, but it's helpful. You don't need two coats, by the way. I hope nobody thinks that they need two. Just one. One will get you through all 4 years, I promise. We have a question about the scheduled events for students during 3-day move-in, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I that information can be found online, but do any of you want to just chat a little bit more about what they can expect as far as move-in events? Leah, go ahead.
Um, yeah, well, I went through Welcome Week last year. It's a bit overwhelming with how much stuff there is, but you'll definitely find your thing. One of my favorite events was Welcome Fest for sure. It's where many of the cultural organizations on campus, clubs, dance troupes, all these things, they were tabling and then they had performances in Shine at the end. That's where I found two of the organizations I'm now a part of. And then also just friends who are in the same culture as me. On top of that, there's also Citrus in the City, where the school takes you downtown and there's a bunch of food trucks. And that was definitely my favorite event, or second favorite event, I guess. But it's really nice to get off campus a bit and like see the city that you are going to call home for the next 4 years and also get some free food.
Fantastic. Thank you. Sorry, I'm typing answers at the same time. Do you have any tips for maximizing the space in your residence hall room, especially, with the amount of stuff that a student might bring? Isa.
I have like a specific answer and a non-specific answer. So I lived in BBB my freshman year. I would say if you're in BBB, you don't need to buy a lot of like, what are they called? Like the storage bins or like the plastic bins, because BB has a lot of storage, like on the top of your bed, on the side of your bed, like it has a lot of storage. So if you live in there, definitely you don't need to do that. But if you don't, just I would say kind of similar to the packing thing, don't overpack. Get there first and then see what you need, see what you have space for. So just pack the essentials. I would definitely say if you're flying in from somewhere, kind of what Jayana said, look into renting the micro fridge with the microwave and the fridge. You can split that with your roommate if you want, like the cost. Because it's just easier at the end of the year, and it would take less space. Like once you get there, it would already be set up, so you know how much space you have to kind of maneuver. Look up online like the floor plans. All of that is available online. If you look up, I don't know, Sadler Hall floor plan, like it'll pop up and you'll see kind of what the dimensions are, what it looks like, and then you can go from there. Just be very curious. Look up everything. If you look up everything with Syracuse University next to it, it'll pop up. So
Jayana?
Yeah, so I lived in Day in Flint my first year, and something that and my roommate actually told me about this, but it was those hangers where you can put like it's one hanger and then they have holes and you can put multiple hangers in them, if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys I know what I'm talking about, but that was a great space saver, especially for your bulkier items since this is Syracuse, it's cold. Those sweaters and your hoodies and your coats, that can take up a lot of room and you have three items and your closet's gone. So that was really great to kind of maximize the full space of your closet. And then another thing, I would say don't bring a mirror. Most of the dorm halls have a mirror attached inside of your closet, so you don't really need a full-length mirror. I brought one, never used it. So that's another thing that I would not bring. I can attest that both Day and Flint have mirrors inside their closets, and I think all the other ones as well.
Yes, they do. I love watching mirrors walk into the residence hall and then walk back out of the residence hall during move-in. It's one of my favorite activities, actually. Leah.
I definitely agree with what Issa said. Look up your specific dorm and style room because I also lived in BBB and I was really surprised by how much storage I had. I think the university SU housing and dining TikTok and YouTube pages has like a walkthrough of every single room possible on campus. So that was really helpful for me to see like, oh, this is exactly what a split double and Bullen Hall is going to look like and how I can bring things to fit with that. I know this is also not possible for everybody, depending on like how you're traveling to and from Syracuse, but one thing that I did that really helped was not bringing like what I needed for the entire year or entire semester that for in August. Um, I brought most of my like winter jackets, heavy sweatshirts, thick covers and stuff after Thanksgiving break, and I brought home a lot of like my short sleeve summer stuff that I obviously wouldn't really need to use again. So that was helpful for me just to not, and my parents to not have to bring everything in one go, just to take in batches.
That is a great tip. Yes, it's good to not bring everything at one time because you probably aren't going to need the winter boots until later on in the semester, right? Until November, December. So you can wait on bringing those. Or if you're a skier and you're planning on going skiing, don't bring your skis in August because it's not going to. Just going to take up some room in your residence hall room. So you can always bring things in batches or buy it, right? Once you get there, you can always get stuff. We have three questions that are all kind of related to one another. So, all about finding your people, right? Finding and establishing your community, your friends during Welcome Week, and also establishing a good relationship with your roommate, who may end up being your best friend, and or just may end up being somebody that you live with, and not necessarily that you're friends with. So, does anybody want to talk a little bit more about how to navigate that, how to, find their people and make sure that they're establishing good, healthy relationships? Isa.
Yeah, so it definitely depends on the person. Not everybody's experience is the same. So for me, it took me a little bit longer. I would say a month, maybe a month and a half to really find people. I'm like, these are my community, these are my people, I'm close to them. But then sometimes you see people who find their friends first day of welcome week, and then that's like their friend group till they graduate. It really depends on the person, it depends on your circumstances. I would say two main things is like don't compare yourself to other people. Your community, if you put yourself out there, your community will come to you and you will find them. Um, and have patience. I would say have patience and don't force anything. My first like 2 weeks, I was like trying my best to hang out with anybody, even if I didn't feel like I connected with them. And then it's just like a waste of time for everybody, and then it just won't do you any good. Don't force it. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right, and then just keep going. There's plenty to do on campus. Once I started putting myself out there, joining organizations, I found my people. But yeah, it can be scary. I would say, take time to self-care. It's never anything personal if you're like, oh, I don't have a big group of friends. It's not you. It's not a personal thing. It's just it might take you a little bit longer, and that's totally okay. So
I like that. And sometimes it does, and that's okay. Leah.
I definitely agree with what Issa said. There's no timeline on when you find your people and when you make friends here at Syracuse. I definitely just recommend being as open to friendship and relationships with people. Um, you can't make friends if you're just sitting in your room with your door closed. So, like, I definitely recommend going to uh, club meetings, school events, just putting yourself out there a bit more. And I found that like a lot of people, that's where I met a lot of my friends, especially with going to club meetings, because then it's like, oh, I have something in common with you. We're gonna see each other more often. So that's really helpful.
And Leah. Oh, I'm sorry, Gianna.
No, you're okay.
Sorry.
Like I said, I am an introvert. And so the way that I found my friends, I think, was a little bit different. My closest friends were just the people that lived across the hall from me. And so being in like close proximity to a large group of people is very helpful to getting to know people. And then another way was just like in the dining halls. I would always recommend people to like compliment one another, and it's always, nice. Everybody's new. So it's kind of like just starting a random conversation while you're getting food, like, oh, do you like this? I like this. And, then they can invite you to go sit down in the dining halls, and then that could be your lunch buddy. So that's how I found my friends. And then as for the roommate situation, my roommate and I weren't best friends. It was very nice because we did a lot of things together when we first got there. We kind of went around and explored together. But as time went on, she found her own friends and I found my own friends. But the biggest thing that we did was just we one communicated with one another. You're not really going to get far if you're not willing to communicate with your roommate. Just about expectations, how you want your room to look, how clean you want it to be, how often you want to clean, how do you want guests over, X, Y, and Z. That's a very important thing to communicate with your roommate because I find that a lot of people have conflicts with them when those things are not communicated front. So definitely be open to communication and then also understanding that your roommate does not have to be your best friend, but you do need to respect them. At the end of the day, it is their room too. They are paying the money to be here. You are paying the money to be here. And so you have to be respectful that you are sharing with someone and that it is not your way or the highway, unfortunately. And it is a very tough situation. As someone who has not ever shared a room with somebody, it was a lot giving up my kind of like own autonomy and all of that to, then having to be mindful of someone else and their boundaries and what they have going on and things of that nature. So definitely be mindful and open and then also just be very communicative and hopefully you can have a really great roommate experience and be fine that you're not best friends or you might be best friends, but that's the way to balance both of them.
I completely agree with that. Yeah, you have to be willing to just make it uncomfortable sometimes, right? Say the things that you might not want to say, but you should. And your residence advisors, your peer advisors, the staff in new student orientation, we're all here. They're all there to help you too, to navigate these conversations, right? Your residence advisors do a fantastic job when you have to have a really weird or tough conversation with someone about perhaps, taking a shower. Oh. But those that's what they're there for. They're trained to do that, and they will be your allies in those situations. So definitely reach out to them when you have issues or problems, or anybody at the university. So we had another couple questions, and we're running out of time. So just a couple more questions. One was about campus jobs. How hard is it to get a job on campus, and what do students need to do? Gianna.
I'm sorry, Issa, I beat you. Um, y'all have a couple of jobs on campus. I love to keep a job with me. I might be stingy, but I have like 7 jobs, which is crazy, but I love a job. I feel like, okay, being a freshman, a lot of organizations or I guess like departments on in Syracuse love to hire freshmen because they want them like all throughout their 4 years. So you already have an advantage there. I would say right now is probably the best time to start applying for jobs, if that's something that you're really, really interested in. Me personally, I didn't get a job my first semester just because I wanted to get used to the college life and everything like that, and I didn't want to put a job on top of that. But even second semester, I was able to get a job pretty easily. A lot of jobs understand that this is, like they're building their resume, so they'll be a little bit more lenient. A lot of the times, it's really just do you have the availability to work when they need you to work. Um, so yeah, I would say it's really easy. You find all the jobs that Syracuse University is hiring for on Handshake. I'm not sure if you guys know about that already, but Handshake is the place to be. Some jobs do require federal work study and have a preference for students with federal work study, so that does put you a little bit, you have a better chance of getting a job if somebody's looking for federal work study versus someone who doesn't have it. But there are jobs for everyone, federal work study and non-federal work study alike. So it's very fun. Just apply and actually take time to put in your application. Don't just write anything because I have sat in on interviews for certain jobs and we could tell that they were not passionate about the job. So try, but also understand that there are advantages being a freshman.
I like that. Isa?
I mean, Diana said a lot of what I was gonna say, but I also have a job on campus that I have been doing. I got my job before I even got to campus, so definitely what Gianna said. If you are certain that you want a job, start applying. You can have your interview online, like everything. I also have work study, so just be all of you should check out if you have work study or not, because that changes what jobs you can apply to. If you want a more low-key job, like less hours, like less pressure for like example, if you want to work, I know the library can be low like lower hours or front desk or something like that. I would start applying as soon as possible because those fill up really quickly. Um, there's cafes on campus. Yeah, just like see what you're willing to do if you have a lot of very intense classes or like very academically challenging coursework, maybe take a little less hours. But yeah, it is I wouldn't say it's a hard process to go through. It's just it depends on what job you want. It might be first come, first serve, and you might just have to be the first one there. But yeah, that's I would recommend it. I like having a job and academics, not only obviously the money, but also just like it gives me a lot of discipline of being like, this is my schedule and these are the times I have to do my homework and all that. So I kind of went off topic, but yes, apply.
And Leah.
Yeah, like everybody else said, apply as early as possible, especially if you know that you want to be working or if you have work study. Um, I applied right after my orientation because my orientation leader was like, do it ASAP. So, that definitely helped me. I was able to do my interview and like the hiring process during welcome week before my classes started, so that was very helpful. Um, yeah, you can find all the jobs on Handshake, which is honestly really fun to look through because they also have like the internships and immersion trips on there too. So I knew I wanted to do something a job slightly more related to my interests, so I was able to like filter it out and find a job in IT, which is really fun. I really like it. So you can definitely find what you want. Some of the jobs are by major or by year, so that is definitely very helpful too.
Fantastic. Okay, we are pretty much wrapped up. So I'm going to turn it back over to Nick.
Yeah. So obviously our orientation leaders who are current from this past summer, who are current students, have a lot of expertise, a lot of different experiences on campus. And so one thing that I want to be able to leave almost every panel I have with students is understanding that, Jayon is going into her senior year versus Leah is going into her second year. So understanding that you are not who you were 2 or 3 years ago, but understanding that you learn a lot about yourself whenever you start college and navigate that experience. And so, for each of the three, so Issa, Jayana, and Leah, what is one piece of advice or one thing you would tell your graduating high school self as you're starting college now that you've kind of gone through it a little bit? Issa.
I would say just like that I do know myself as well as I think I do. So when I came in, I was overwhelmed and shy and a little bit, just like I didn't make friends immediately, so I kind of started second guessing myself, and I have to like take a step back and be like, you know yourself, you're outgoing, you're extroverted, like that person still exists. You being in college doesn't mean you're a different person. So just kind of trusting in yourself. I would tell myself freshman year, definitely like trust yourself, nothing wrong with you. Keep going. You will find your people. Because it can get really overwhelming really quickly and you're away from your support system and all that. Just trust yourself that you know what you're doing and you know who you are, I guess.
Leah.
Like I said earlier, just being open to everything that college has to offer you. Like I said, you're not really gonna be able to experience everything if you're closed off to it. But also putting effort into everything you do, especially when it comes to making new friendships. Obviously, you meet a lot of people during your first couple of weeks, but it's kind of easy to just say hi, get their Instagram, and never talk again. So definitely putting effort into being like, hey, do you want to go to the dining hall together? You want to go to the library together? Stuff like that, so that you can actually foster new and positive relationships.
Jayana.
Yeah, so kind of just piggybacking off what everybody else said, I would definitely have told myself to just relax a little bit. I would definitely remind myself that I deserve to be here. I came into Syracuse with a lot of like imposter syndrome, and I just felt like, big sea, little fish. And so I would definitely tell myself that like I deserve to be here and remind myself that I deserve to be here. I did the work, I got in, and there is a place for me on campus. And like Leah said, you have to put yourself out there. Again, as an introvert, nobody's going to be knocking on your door talking about, hey, do you want to be friends? You have to put yourself out there. And I would also remind myself that everything's going to work out. There's going to be time periods where you might feel a little lonely on campus or things might not be working out the best way that you want them to be. But you have to be positive and understand that things will work out for you as long as you keep trying. So those are definitely some things that I would have loved to tell my freshman self. Relax is really the big thing. Like, calm down. It'll work out.
Okay. And the last thing I just want to be able to advertise to you all is understanding what do these upcoming important dates look like. So obviously, if you sign up for a pre-welcome program, those run from Sunday, August 16th to August 19th. If you have any questions about your specific program that you signed up for, definitely reach out to the contact in the either the form that you filled out, and I know that the information is still available on our pre-welcome programs webpage. So don't be afraid to send them an email. They're more than welcome to answer any questions. Move in again. If you've already signed up for a move in date, time, and slot, we're excited to see you. If you haven't, would love for you to sign up for a move in date and time. But move in for new students is from 17 and 19. Obviously, if you're doing a pre-welcome program, you're moving in slightly earlier. But our Goon Squad support will be around for those 3 days on 17, 18, 19. There are events happening from that Monday onward, but Welcome Week technically begins with new student convocation on Thursday, and we'll have some signature events through that Sunday with a couple of other things happening throughout the course of the first week of class. And then the first day of class and what we call day one celebration and shine is going to be on August 24th. So those are some nice dates to have in the back of your head. I know that Tracy put in information about admissions, but our office email and our phone number are right there. We are by our phone every day of the business hour, at this time of the year. So if you have any questions about student life and move-in and orientation and welcome week and all the things, we are also more than welcome to, or more than happy to answer any question you might have, especially as we're getting close to it happening. And so we are always a resource for you all, so don't be afraid to reach out.
Thank you all for joining us again tonight. We are so excited to see you in just a few short weeks on campus. And as Nick said, please reach out to us when you have questions about anything. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening or day if you're joining us from other places in the world. And we will see you soon. Go Orange.